Good morning and welcome to today's meeting of the Constitution Committee. As usual, this meeting is being broadcast live to the public. For those not able to watch live, the webcast will be recorded and made available for viewing on the County Council's website after the meeting. We've received apologies from Mr. Rushton and Mr. Bedford, and I welcome Mrs. Wright and Mrs. Posnett, who are attending as their substitutes. So on to item 1. I move that the minutes of the meeting held on the 22nd of November are taken as read, confirmed and signed. Are we all agreed? Yep, thank you. Item 2, question time. There are none. Item 3, questions asked under Standing Orders 7.3 and 7.5. There are none. To advise of any other items which the Chairman has decided to take as urgent, I've agreed to take one urgent item. This will be a verbal update which Lauren will present under item 8. On to item 5, declarations of interest. Does anyone have any declarations? No? Okay, the annual governance statement 2023 to 2024. So Neil Jones, Head of Internal Audit, will present this report. So over to you, Neil.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone. So this is our annual governance statement for 2023-24. And the report that I've put forward explains the approach to producing the statement. It's a statutory requirement and it accompanies the financial statements. And it's a document that looks back to see how we've applied the principles that are found in the SIP First, Strike Solus, delivering good governance principles over the year. So there is some consultation underway at the moment around annual governance statements, but that won't hit until 2025-26. So we are where we are with following principles and guidance. The annual governance statement, it's primarily a statement on the council's governance arrangements, but we do widen that out and we talk about significant commercial and collaborative arrangements just to provide that fuller picture. We have had some draft versions of the AGS and they've been considered by a Corporate Governance Committee, but this committee has the responsibility to approve the final version before it's then attached to the audited statement of accounts, and they are going to be approved by the Corporate Governance Committee at its meeting this Friday. And the external auditor receives various copies of the draft and final version of the statement. So the report just explains in brief the approach we've taken and the outcome of the annual review of the effectiveness of the system of internal control. The process has not really changed significantly from the previous year. It's mainly a mix of departmental and corporate self-assessments against the 7 governance principles, and then we review other governance themed reports and provide updates to our commercial and collaborative arrangements. So just very briefly, then paragraph 16 and 17 cross-reference to the actual detailed governance statement itself, which is attached to the appendix. Paragraphs 18 to 20 are quite important. That defines how we define what we class as significant governance issues. Within our own parameters, these are because we don't have specific guidance relating to that. So we've always been very transparent and open and given some real thought about anything that relates to governance issues. So those paragraphs summarise the position with those. There were 4 previously reported in 22-23 and how they've been closed down or moved on. And there was 2, new ones reported in 23-24, and the details of those are found in the appendix in more detail at section 7 or 8. So we only close off those governance issues once the senior officer group is approved and on those. Paragraph 21 just refers to the section 9, and that relates to future challenges. So the governance statement looks back, but we're always aware of looking forward and what's around the corner. So a lot of those continue to be in the Corporate Governance Committee domain when they review corporate risk registers. Paragraph 22 provides assurance to you that we are overall satisfied that we've got appropriate governance arrangements in place and they continue to be regarded fit for purpose. And then finally, there's an annex at the back of your pack, page 29, and that's just going through the self-assessments. We obviously identify some areas for improvement. That's all I've got to say, really. I'd gladly take any questions for them.
Thank you, Neil. Any questions or comments from anybody?
Just to say, as always, I think it's a really good report. It's thorough, it's complete, and I think it's well presented. So, yeah, thank you. It's been put into it.
Okay, so I'm happy to move the recommendations in paragraph 24A and B. Do I have a seconder? Lee? Thank you. All agreed? Thank you very much. Okay, on to item 7, co-opted members protocols, pages 33 to 46. So Lauren Haslam, Director of Law and Governance, will present this report.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, members. A brief report to introduce and seek approval for 2 protocols in relation to co-opted members. Firstly, for members of the Children and Families Overview and Scrutiny Committee, and secondly, independent members on the Corporate Governance Committee. As members will appreciate, co-opted members play an important role in the Council's business and help the Council to meet the legislative requirements in relation to the Overview and Scrutiny Committee and SIPCA recommended best practice in relation to the independent members on corporate governance. Appendix A sets out the protocol for Overview and Scrutiny Committee members, independent co-opted members. It's a statutory requirement. A voting member in contrast to the independent members on corporate governance, generally a diocesan representative and a parent representative as per the regulations. And the protocol sets out the eligibility criteria, the role, appointment process, term of office, induction, training and support, and includes the reference to the code of conduct. Very similar really for Appendix B for the independent members, covering similar issues, sort of job description in effect. The difference being simply that the members are non-voting on corporate governance committees. The committee has just requested to approve the protocols to give the sort of governance framework for those members, so there's clarity for them in relation to what they're there for and how their role is managed whilst they're in their appointment. Thank you, Chair.
Any questions or comments from anybody? No? So I'm happy to move the recommendations in paragraph 5. Do I have a seconder? James, thank you very much. All agreed? Thank you. On to item 8. So as previous 5, I've got one urgent item and I'll refer to Lauren to pick that up.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just to remind the committee, in November when the committee met, it resolved to set up a politically balanced task and finish group to undertake a full review of the council's constitution, and we're intended to start that around now with a view to approval of the new constitution in the new municipal year. In light of recent developments and the potential for local government reorganisation, I'm suggesting to the committee that we pause that work. And I'm asking the committee really to note today that we won't make a start just yet. We obviously revisit that as and when we get more information on the progress of the review, if it is to take place. But for now, it just seems a little bit, not good use of resources, should I say, to start on what would be a very big task when it may not be required in a completely different form. So if the committee's agreed, I'd like to just pause for now.
Any questions or comments? Are we happy to approve the delay? Okay, thank you very much. That brings us to the end of the agenda and therefore I'll declare the meeting closed. Thank you all very much.